And what's up, you guys? Welcome to the Mango Grove. For those of you wondering, yes, I sold my XRP, exactly 25% of my position off the table. Now, here's the thing. I could be wrong, okay? Hell, I was wrong once already. I was wrong right here. Right? I exited my position even on that break of the dynamic, only to get invalidated on the entire bearish play on the next weekly close. What did I do? Well, I got back into position. So this is to say that I could be wrong even now, and I am completely fine with that. In fact, today I'm going to give you two technical reasons that I see right now unfolding on the charts that could render me incorrect on selling my position right here only for XRP to then rally. Because yes, there are two major bullish tilts that could lead to a bounce on XRP right here. What would I do if that happens? Well, same thing as I did right here. I got back into position, and this time too, if that happens, I'll get back into position once again. And also, I'm going to be giving you guys a golden nugget at the end of this video, a golden level to keep your eyes out on, irrespective of what time frame you're trading. This golden level is going to tell you if the bulls are building momentum. Well, let's start with bullish point number one, crypto fear and greed sitting at fear. Now, you guys are probably wondering, well, Krisha, how is this good news? Well, markets are forward pricing, and much of this is based on expectations. Whatever bearish expectations there were based on the recent liquidation event, based on any sort of bearish news on the horizon, be it on the macro front or the fundamental front, it's all been priced in already. Which is why, even if you look at the historic data of fear and greed, every time this index went down, which happened here back in September of 2023, the summer of 2024, and earlier this year between Feb and April 2025, you'll find that all three of those instances were actually buy the dip opportunities. For XRP2, this right here was September of 2023 when the index went down to fear. Fast forward to the summer of 2024, once again when fear and greed was sitting at fear. And fast forward to earlier this year between Feb and April when crypto fear and greed went down to extreme fear. What do you notice about all three of these instances? Well, they were all buy the dip opportunities. Whatever bearish narrative was unfolding in the background, that was already priced in. So if everything remains status quo, I'm saying this right here could very well also end up being a buy the dip opportunity like the other three instances where crypto fear and greed fell to fear. And for the second and most important bullish tilt is that we're still in a bull market. The bull market structure is hinged off of Bitcoin and what Bitcoin is doing relative to its cyclical supports. Now, one such cyclical support that we've been looking at here is the bi-weekly dynamic. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but you guys get the picture. We're looking at the dynamic support. We reclaimed it right here in July of 2023 and have been using it as support. And every single visit of that bi-weekly dynamic has actually been a buy the dip opportunity. And believe it or not, guys, believe it or not, it has always lined up when crypto fear and greed was actually sitting at fear. And once again, what do we have? Now, it's not on the bi-weekly dynamic support, but hell, it's pretty freaking close with once again crypto fear and greed sitting at fear. So you guys can see the symmetry that's going on right here. Now, for as long as Bitcoin stays over the bi-weekly dynamic support, that cloud remains green, telling us that, hey, the bulls have the edge here, and that slope remains positive. I'm saying, hey, bull run's still intact. Now, the dynamic zone changes with every new bi-weekly print that we get, but currently the zone comes in from $101,000 down to $94,000. For as long as Bitcoin stays over the zone, I'm saying bull run's still intact, and for as long as a bull run is intact, XRP's bullish trend could still see a resurrection. And of course, guys, it goes without saying, if you want to keep up with these levels as we get new prints on the chart, make sure you're hitting the sub and the bell icon, because I will be presenting them on every new update. For those of you who simply do not want to wait on me and my daily updates, that's completely fine. The dynamic indicator is available on the mango.markets/dynamic, so you guys can go ahead and check it out there. I will be linking it in the description below. And to add to the second bullish point on Bitcoin cyclical supports, we also have the monthly 10 simple moving average. And you can see that price is still holding it as support. We haven't broken just yet. And for as long as we're living over that, I'm saying bull run still on. Now for bullish point number 3. Now, yes, XRP did lose the weekly dynamic support, which was my invalidation and which is why I sold 25% of my position yesterday. Now, there are all of these bullish points. Why did I sell? Because exiting well is going to help me get back into position when the system triggers once again. It's very important that you exit well and you lose well, because that is going to shape how you approach every single trade moving forward. The amount of times I've seen people lose so horribly to the market because they did not follow their system, and now where they should be buying, they're not buying because they're sitting deep in losses. You do not want to be one of those people, because they're either sitting deep in losses or they're going through some sort of PTSD because they did not follow their system to begin with. How you end your trades is as important, if not more important. I would argue that it's more important than how you begin your trades. So I want you guys to start exiting well, start losing well, because that's going to shape every trade that you take moving forward. Now, yes, XRP did break the weekly dynamic support. In the previous video, I did mention the bi-weekly dynamic support, which Sean brought up to our attention on the live stream. He told me that, hey Krisha, I think you're wrong about looking at the weekly time frame. I think the time frame that you ought to be looking at is the bi-weekly time frame, because there have been no violations of support on there. And here's the thing, guys, he's right on that. There have been no violations on the bi-weekly time frame, and currently price is sitting smack on top of the bi-weekly dynamic support, and this is your support zone right here. And through this entire consolidation, you can see how every tap of the bi-weekly dynamic support was actually picked up by the bulls. The buyers stepped in just then. And we've had some crazy impulsive rallies off of the bi-weekly dynamic support so far. The first one was a good 80% in the bag. The second bounce on bi-weekly dynamic was a good 67% in the bag. The third bounce on the bi-weekly dynamic was a good 90% in the bag. Now, once again, we're back down at that region, which has often been the spring to shoot prices up once again. But now the main question is, when do we get that spring effect? Well, this now brings me to my golden nugget, the golden level that I told you about in the beginning of this video. And this golden level can be found on the monthly time frame. Get onto the monthly time frame and switch on your monthly 10 simple moving average, which currently comes in right here at $2.48. This is the level where, if we start seeing weekly candle closes over this region, if in the next 10 days the month of November opens up above $2.48, that's going to be a great sign for the bulls, at which point we could see that spring effect come into play. And more importantly, if the month of November opens up above $2.48, I want you guys to think about what this picture would look like. It would look like an amazing bullish pickup in the month of October after a crazy liquidation event, the biggest liquidation event yet. XRP survived, and now we're off to the races. That's when the spring effect comes into play. But $2.48 is the level that you ought to be looking at. I, for one, am going to be looking towards weekly candle closes over $2.48. That's where you want to see the strength kick in. If we can do that, I'm saying it's game on, bulls. I won't be surprised if the month of November ends up being a nice green month for XRP. Now, of course, guys, we are going to be following the XRP trade on the Discord chat. So if you are not already in there, what are you waiting for? Join the Discord at themangoway.com/Discord. I will be linking it in the description below. I will now see you guys in there. With this, trade safely, trade stress-free, trade the mango way, trade the easy way. Ciao, you guys.